Hello, I'd like to thank you for clicking on my website, USA Minute, and I do appreciate it. My name is Stanley Bundy. And the purpose of this website is twofold. One secondary purpose is to assist me in starting a third party. And the second primary purpose is to assist me in my run to hope to have the privilege and the honor to serve you as your representative in Harrisburg for the 41st Senatorial District in Pennsylvania. Now that includes all of Indiana and Armstrong County, with Indiana County being my home county, a portion of Butler County adjacent to the western edge of Armstrong County, and a portion of Westmoreland County on the northern part adjacent to the southern end of both Indiana and Armstrong County respectively. So that is the 41st Senatorial District, and again, I would love to have the privilege to serve you because I will be an advocate for the people. I mentioned that I'm starting a third party. I chose the name USA Minutemen to run, and I just want to point out that I'm basically an independent, and I will have no other person to direct my activities other than the constituents of the 41st Senatorial District. And I have my ideas, and you'll be able to understand some of my philosophies, and if we agree, you'll probably vote for me. That's what I'm hoping. And if we agree, I'm hoping that if I decide on to vote for something, that I will have a voice of the majority with me. But keep in mind, if I do not have the voice of the, I will not vote against the voice of the majority. Okay, even though I have my idea, I don't necessarily know on each specific subject how you would want me to vote. So I will try to keep you informed, and I will listen to the feedback, and hopefully it's positive. And I will even go out and talk to you people, and talk to you in places probably that you've never seen somebody come and talk to you, because I just like talking to people and getting ideas. That's just me, because I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And I don't know how you feel. And sometimes it can, you know, if you listen to the voice majority, I just feel it's just, you can't go wrong. And that's what the government is not doing today. This democracy was set up basically to be the voice of the majority, and with all people having the same rights, not different rights or superior rights to the majority. All people have the same rights. And if that was followed, we would probably be okay. But it's not always followed. And so people start wanting special rights because they was denied their rights that they should have had. And the special rights are needed because it needs to clarify that these people have those same rights that the majority has. And that's where the problem came about. And I'm hoping that we get, as we progress, we get to where we give everybody the same rights. No more, no less, okay? Opportunity. And we need to have opportunity. In order to have opportunity, we need jobs, that's for sure. And we don't have jobs being created because we've lost how to create them. The only kind of jobs that the government can create now is government jobs. And those kind of jobs, when created, cost the middle class and the poor money, because that's where the taxes come from. And when you start taxing the middle class and the poor, it takes away from their ability to provide for their family. And whether you people know it, well, I'm sure you people who listen to me know it, but I don't think some of these politicians know it. There's very limited funds in middle and poor class. There isn't extra money. So when you take what money they do have, it removes them from the ability to buy something. And whatever that something is that they no longer buy, that person that make that something goes out of business. So that something is important in the overall viable economy and the cyclical nature needed to have the economy rotate and to have the wealth redistributed. And what we've attacked with our tax structure in the last 20, 25 years is the very class that makes the economy go to the middle class because they spend all the money they have. Okay. Basically, there's very little savings come from the middle class, okay, and the upper middle, well, a little bit from the upper middle class, but not much. It basically comes from the upper 5%, okay. So The class that needs the money that made this country prosper and grow and the standard of living raised was because the middle class had the money to spend more than they do now proportionately. So it has reduced the middle class, and that's what's wrong. We need to have a restructuring of the tax system. Of course, as a state senator, I mean, it would only be in the state, not the federal level, but the federal level where that needs done. I'm just talking about some of my thoughts on what's wrong with government today. But I do want to say one thing and why I feel the way I do about the United States. I'm just going to read a little bit here, or not read, but I'm just going to look at my notes, and then I'll talk how I feel. Try to come from the heart. I don't need the teleprompter, I just need it to keep me organized. Because I have so many ideas, I need to keep them in order, okay? And finish one before I start another, okay? But I've often thought that the USA was founded much later in world history and was reserved by God for a governmental system that would do the will of the people and whose laws and constitution was written more or less to follow the New Testament. And that's what I feel this Constitution was done for. And I feel there's those that do not believe in God or Christ, and they're the ones that are attacking the Constitution today for that very reason, because it has, even though they may not realize it, it has the same feel to me as the New Testament. You know, and the New Testament was written and not always followed and hasn't been followed yet. But if you read the intent of the New Testament and the intent of the Constitution, I think they're very similar. All men are created equal, not differences, you know. In the Bible, in Good Samaritan, Christ, that was somebody who would probably be like ISIS today. And that's who you should help in times of distress and need. He gives forgiveness and love. Martin Luther King is a prime example. He lived that Bible. He lived that New Testament. And he was not afraid because he lived it and he had that strong faith in God. That's what the people are afraid of today about the Christian faith and why it's being attacked. Because that belief is very strong. And it's a controlled type of belief, not a crazy belief where you get terroristic and crazy ideas, okay? It's a controlled belief in a God that is just and right. And that's a difference. And that's what evil fears, and that's why we're being attacked as Christians. I do believe that. But this country was blessed with an abundance of natural resources. 2 oceans, east and west, major oceans, all the way up to, you know, the northern end of Canada, you know, and down all the way to the southern tip of Africa, or America, South America, rather. And that protected us and keeps this North and South America safe. Okay, so that's very important. And I don't think that was by accident that the Constitution was written, and I feel the intent was to more or less follow the New Testament. Helping others, not hoarding, you know, those kind of things are in there. And all men are created equal, and all are entitled with the life, happiness, life and the pursuit of happiness. And that's not being followed completely today at all. But anyway, and I also feel that we had those natural resources given to us to help us fight in the 2 world wars where evil was really had a chance to maybe take over the world, especially in World War II. We had 2 countries, Japan and Germany, basically trying to rule a large section of the world. And Japan, I believe, part of the reason was because they didn't have natural resources, energy. And, you know, energy has been the cause of wars for years. And that plan, that's why I tried to develop a plan. I don't know if you realize it or not, but the plan in my thought, at least in my brain, was made to be able to lay the sword down. And the geothermal, along with solar panels, is what it does. It negates the need for oil, for some of the energy reserves we have, even coal, that I'm in favor of. But we need to be able to do this in such a manner, you know, and if we start my system, I believe that it could start and be dovetailed in, that we could create a lot of additional jobs and slowly get to where the point where we could enter get back to the Garden of Eden. Because our greed, that's what is keeping us out, the greed and power that we seek, right? You know, regardless of what, you know, the Garden of Eden There's been many thoughts what the forbidden fruit was, but in my mind it's always been one thing. It's been greed and power. They had all the things, basically God said, you have all the things that you need. We just don't want you to eat from the forbidden fruit. You know. And it's, so you had all you needed, but you wanted more. And that was the sin. They want more than they need, and that's still the original sin we keep committing. And human beings are born with, basically. Okay? So that's what we have to stop. And I actually, you know, I'm a Christian, but I believe somewhat in evolution, but guided by God. I will say that. And I believe that what we needed to evolve and face the hardships that we was able to conquer as a human race, you needed some kind of a not so nice personality at times, okay, to combat the harsh environment and do things that you maybe didn't want to do. And I sometimes wonder if that isn't where the greed and the power came from. And that's what you need to learn to quelch and control in order to get back to the Garden of Eden. And I do believe that. So anyway, and I can remember, you know, my wife and I have discussed, you know, the problems in the world and some, and a little bit more. She's not really into politics too much, like most good wives. She realizes it's a problem, okay, and it's kind of limited what you can do at times. But I can remember as a kid growing up and stuff and watching the newsreels and seeing the relief when it would be a disaster, and you'd see the grain sacks with USA on it and all this other, and you had a sense of pride. We're losing that in this country, aren't we? We're losing it, you know. And my wife even mentioned to me, she said to me, about the changes in the government, she said, why can't we have a proud nation which is responsible for our country, our own people, all of it, and realize we can't take care of all the world's problems. Parents need to have jobs and opportunities to raise our children, our gifts from God. Our children need a future, and it's not about the government taking care of our children. It's parents who need to accept responsibility for their actions. And all one has to do is just look at what this has caused with the drug epidemic, broken homes, crime, loss of life for a better life. Things we both had when we started our life together. We had, it was, you know, if you work hard and you can succeed. And you look around this room that you see, and I'll show it to you in probably some other videos. It's your imagination. We was able to fulfill ours because we worked hard. And if I was born today, I would not be able to do it with the way the system has changed because of the greed and corruption in this country, by Wall Street, by Goldman Sachs, by all these people that are, you know, supposed to take care of us and watch over us in the political system. It's not being done, people. We need to take this country back. And, you know, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that you really think about what I try to have to say. I'm just going to not finish the rest of this because I think you get an understanding of how I feel about this country and how I feel about God. And I do want to say this, though, and this election coming up for president, I would like people to really examine their heart of who they vote for. I mean, ask your heart to guide you, not your brain, because your heart, I think, where God speaks to you. That's where I feel it coming from, because I feel something amiss there. I don't feel it amiss up here, I feel it down here. And when your heart breaks, it's said because your heart breaks. Well, I think that's where he speaks from, okay? And the reason I say that is we are at a crossroads in this country. And we have evil taking over this country. I feel it very strongly. And I'll mention in my website, maybe I didn't, but there's a movie called The Never Ending Story that I think really illustrates what I feel has happened. I watched it in 1984. I could feel it then. I could feel it coming almost. And when I saw that movie, I might be the only one that thought that, but perfectly explains where we're at today. Our hopes and dreams are being taken. The never-ending story is about the nothingness. It comes in and takes everything and leaves nothing behind. You know, you have the crime and the friction and the Black Lives Matter. You have all these different groups. We all feel the same way, don't we? I'm talking to you now because I feel that way. And it's because we basically removed the New Testament, Christ, from our life. And I just want people that basically call themselves Christians, and I feel this country was founded on a Christian belief. And that's religious freedom doesn't mean that the Christian religion gets proliferate and makes everybody force and capitulates them into Christianity. Now what bothers me is it appears that the Muslim religion does seem to feel that way. And that goes completely against the New Testament. Now the Christian faith may have at times done that, but that was against their teachings. And many Christians speak out that that was wrong. Okay. But I don't hear anybody speaking out about the Muslim faith being wrong from the Muslim faith when they try to convert people through force and barbaric actions. And that's wrong. That is wrong. That's wrong in the Christian faith. So, not that I'm saying the Christian faith is superior. You're allowed to practice your faith as long as it doesn't infringe upon my rights as a citizen of this United States and the rights that we are entitled to in the Constitution. And I'm just going to read something here, and I'm going to finish here with this thought, because I understand that they're talking about removing the Ten Commandments, okay? And when a person reads the Ten Commandments, I wonder what's in there that's so harmful to society, okay? And I don't see it, all right? Now, what I do see that they're afraid of, and this is the reason I believe they're afraid of it, the government. It's kind of an instinctive fear, see, because the government now feels that it's God, doesn't it? It can have and fulfill all our desires and wishes, right? So when it feels it can fill all our desires and wishes, isn't that what those of us that have the Christian faith believe, that if we pray to God, that God will fulfill our desires and wishes? Well, we're now in competition with our own government, aren't we? That's what I see. Because the first commandment says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other God before me. Very simple. So what is wrong with that? Okay? I'll show you what's wrong with that. Not what I feel is wrong with that. I feel that is right. But why the government feels it's wrong. Because I'm going to show you their God. It's right here, isn't it? It's that dollar bill, not George Washington. George Washington was a good man. And that's what the government fears. I wondered why they're attacking the Christian faith. And that's why. Because the government wants to be the God, doesn't it? And that's what communism does. They want to control everything. They want to decide for you what you want to do and what you have to do. God does not do that. He gave us a free will, see. He is in conflict with the government because he gave us a free will, and we still feel that God gave us a free will and I can do what I want. I can get up and jump up now or sit or smash something or do whatever I want to do, right? God ain't going to stop me because he gave us a free will. That is what the government wants. They want the ability to control us. They don't want us to have a free will that God gave us, and that's why they fear him. It's just that simple. And that's important. In this election, we have to pay attention who we vote for. And we have to pay attention to people that are absolutely similar to the Christian faith and believe that government needs to stop intruding into our lives. because the longer we vote for people to intrude into our lives, the more of our religious freedoms that will be taken. They're calling now very craftily freedom of worship. Because freedom of worship, they're trying to confine the religion into the house of worship. And that way they won't be able to profess it and have these ideas that are against the government's plan to control us. Free will. That's what it is. I think so for sure. Now I want to tell you this, I hope you vote for me. I have a strong Christian faith. I'm not crazy. I'm not going to punch anybody or beat anybody up, although I could. You know, I still feel like I have a little bit of spark in me, but I probably won't. You know, I try to live, and that's what some of these people that are trying to remove God don't understand. My belief in God kept me from doing things many, many times. Okay, because I don't fear death. Okay, and I don't fear death because I believe in a God. And it sounds like a paradox, but it's not. But that's why I could not do anything that would cause somebody's death or kill them or whatever. I got in a few fights, that's for sure. But I was limited. My dad taught us, you know, he said, you know, if you get somebody down or you get in a fight, you don't kick them when they're down. So I always adhere to that principle. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to give you my thoughts about God, and I don't know if this will make it, but if you see it in you know, in my opening statement, why you'll know that I felt that that's why we should leave it in.